Please, come in, puppy. Have a seat. Haha, thanks, Doc. I really appreciate it. Proceeds to not have a seat. I am not a doctor, I am a therapist, but you're welcome. Now, what seems to be troubling you? Well, I've never been to therapy for one, so, this is gonna be really inaccurate. Don't worry, this is just a comedic bit. It's also a subtle reminder for the viewer to like this video and subscribe if they enjoy it and want to help Klaire Fluffle out. Real! So true, bestie. Anyway, I was just thinking about Kirby Air Ride. And that made you angry? Of course! There's so much to say about the speedruns of this game, but I don't even know where to start. There's so many fun modes, so many fun speed tricks, so many hot dog jokes. Hot dogs? Grrr, I am so angry. I'm so mad. I'm gonna, yeah, ooh, now. I think I may have a solution to your problem. Really, Doc? What is it? You gotta tell me. I'm not a doctor, I think you should have a look at your Patreon. My Puptreon? Okay, Whoa! My Puptrins, who get to vote on a monthly video, chose Kirby Air Ride 100%! That's awesome! Can we end this bit already? Yeah, sure, that works. Kirby Air Ride is a super fun game, and I'm sure this whole video could just be stories of scattered memories about city trial multiplayer over the years. But one aspect of this game a lot of people know about and appreciate, but not nearly to a good enough extent, is speedrunning. And I don't blame anyone for this. More casual players aren't aware of the insane depths of the mechanics of the game, and runners all do an amazing job of showing off how great the game is while they're running it. It's just a matter of getting the word out there of why it's so much fun, and what better way to show that off than going insane and doing a full 100% run. Experience everything that Kirby Air Ride has to offer. And, unlike a lot of speedruns, this can be practical too. Dazzle your friends with a completed save file, so you're the one that they go to whenever someone's asking to play Kirby Air Ride. Oh, viewer, you have a completed Air Ride save file. Can we play on yours so that we start with everything unlocked? You'll be the most popular friend of your whole friend group. Citation needed. Before talking about how amazing Air Ride speedrunning is, though, I want to give my 100% in thanking all of my Fluffle fan Puptrins on my Patreon. My head-patting Fluffle fans actually chose this topic for today's video, as I kinda said before, and while I usually don't make longer videos about single games anymore, they made the call that an Air Ride video would be cool, and I am more than happy to listen to them. And while I'm genuinely appreciative of all of my Puptrins, I want to super duper thank my head-patting Fluffle fan Puptrin specifically, Biohazard, Tyke, Vilafar, the Serval that likes strawberry Pop-Tarts, Lydia Scribe, and remember, Miss K says, did you know that the critically acclaimed MMORPG Kirby's Dream Land 14 has a free trial that includes? I love you all! So, for the uninitiated, you may be wondering to yourself, what is Kirby Air Ride 100%? Basically, this game has 3 game modes. Air Ride, a regular racing mode, Top Ride, a more arcade-like experience with a zoomed-out top-down view, and City Trial, the fan-favorite mode, where you navigate an open-world city gathering power-ups for 3 to 7 minutes before playing an event at the end to determine the winner. Personally, I love all 3 of these modes, but what's important here isn't my love... It's the checklists. All of these modes have 120 missions, so to speak, that you can clear. Some of these give you nothing, but a lot of them give you unlockable characters, or courses, or different machines, stars as they're called, the works. Each mode has 120 missions, the same number as Mary Magaland in Return Deluxe. Although 120 missions stinks, and 100 missions is like the greatest speedrun ever. Go check out that video on it. So in essence, Air Ride 100% is clearing all of the checklists for all 3 modes. 360 missions, basically. Now, I'm not going to talk about every single individual mission. We'd be here all day. I'd love to spend that kind of time with all of you, but I only have so much time to make these videos. I can't be affording that kind of time. I just can't. I'm sorry. That said, I can still go over what makes every mode so unique and cool for speedrunning, and all kinds of checklist missions that are still super cool. I do so like it when things are super cool. That said, we're gonna talk about one game mode at a time. Make something about this video relatively simple, am I right, folks? And since the game is literally called Kirby Air Ride, let's start with City Trial! Yay! I'm just kidding, we're starting with Air Ride. But first, have you ever wondered what I smell like? Hey, don't click off the video, I promise this isn't anything weird. I'm just saying, if you want to know my scent, I have a candle! It is called the Vanilla Fluffle Scented Candle, and I think it came out really, really well. At the checkout, you can either decide to get a normal candle or one with a wooden wick if you like to hear that crackling sound. I don't think that's it, but that's the sound that I wanted to make in the moment. Not only is this website a trusted source, and you can have a little more Fluffle in the house, and if you use the link in the description down there, you will also be supporting me for no extra cost. Thank you very much again to Candle for this opportunity. This isn't a sponsored video or anything, I just wanted to let you guys know I have a candle now. Now, on with the video! This won't surprise you if you're a channel familiar, but if you aren't as familiar with Air Ride speedrunning, you may be thinking to yourself, oh, this is one smart puppy over here. She's getting Air Ride out of the way first, since there's nothing interesting to talk about. And you're half right. I'm a super smart puppy. But in this smart puppy's opinion, this is the best mode of the 3 for speedrunning by a country mile. There's just so much that goes into the many different categories of this mode, and even if we're just limiting our scope to hundo, yes, fully completing the game is not enough for some categories, it's that crazy. It's still such a fun mode to play, and I can't wait to explain why to all of you in excruciating detail. Fun! For starters, something that makes the Air Ride mode super unique is that you only start with one vehicle, the Warp Star. As you complete missions, you unlock other stars, which is very important for, you know, clearing the checklist. The entire point of this run, the reason you're playing the game in this context in the first place. Head pat me. Of course, while not bad, the Warp Star is not what's going to be carrying you in this run. There are a few vehicles that do a really good job of clearing checklist missions, but for starters, it's best to either head to Time Attack and get the Checker Knight's time clear done with, or head into the main Air Ride mode and actually get stuff done. I'm assuming we're all tryhards around here. This is a safe space for us, friend, so we'll go to the actual racing mode first. In theory, you could unlock the machines in whatever order you want, but not all machines are created equal. There are a few that you want to unlock first, and while the true shining star of Air Ride Hundo is gonna have to wait, you can get some crucial pieces right off the bat. By clearing Sky Sands in under 2 minutes and 5 seconds, you unlock the Swerve Star, a star with little to offer except consistently good speed. As is to say, the only thing that you need when you're playing a speedrun for a racing game. Sky Sands is also nice because it easily unlocks the Wing Star, done by finishing a race in the air. The end of Sky Sands just gives this to you for free. I feel like even if you're using something with awful flight like the Formula Star, you'd be fine. So be sure to thank Sky Sands the next time you're using the Wing Star, or else you'll regret it. Don't ask me how you're gonna regret it. While you're here, you may as well clear the break all of the coral mission so that you don't have to come back for that later. It's a fun mission anyway, so what is there to lose? Already though, by simply clearing these missions in one go, you're showing a high level of skill and understanding of the game. Really think about this. In order to be super optimal, you need to do all of the following. Clear Sky Sands in under 1:45 seconds. That's another checklist mission I didn't mention before. Get baited by puppy! Destroy the coral and finish in the air all while using the Warp Star. And hey, if you manage to clear other missions while you're at it, that's cool too. And nothing I mentioned is brutally difficult, or it'll make you view life in a different way. Like La 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 from Kirby Brawl Ball. But it's still a very exciting start to the run that puts you to the test right away. That being said, we need to talk about why the true star of this show is the Rocket Star. The only real downside to the Rocket Star is the unlock method. You need to clear a lap of Machine Passage in free run in under 56 seconds with the Swerve Star. Of course, the Swerve Star is really, really good. But it does mean you have the Rocket Star for one less set of missions than the Swerve Star and the Wing Star. But wise puppy, that's like nothing, you may be thinking. And you're double right on this one. I am both wise, and that winds up meaning nothing. What can I say? The Rocket Star is just absurdly good. For those who don't know, and I'll have footage going on in the back to help explain it all, how the Rocket Star works is that, by default, its speed is bad. Like, really, really bad. However, it can charge up, which takes a bit of time, but once fully charged, you get to go zoom with it, the speeds of which are the fastest in the entire game. So it's all about keeping up that speed. Satisfying to use, for sure, but the skill ceiling with this thing is gigantic. There are so many reasons why, but let's keep it simple and narrow it down to two. For one, in Air Ride, when you defeat an enemy, especially one with a copy ability, you naturally get a speed boost. Rocket loves these speed boosts and will take anything that it can get, so proper positioning versus enemies as well as good ability use are very important. Second, and a lot more fun, involves multiplayer. I'm assuming we've all played Mario Kart at some point, but you know how in those games, if you race behind somebody for long enough, you get a big speed boost, there's like these blue outlines, and then you go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Well, that was a thing in Mario Kart Wii. I've got no clue if that's still a thing or not. I really couldn't care less about Mario Kart, I'm sorry. But the same applies to Air Ride. The blue stuff, I obviously love Air Ride. Although, you get the speed boost really fast. You can go absolutely insane with some of these speed boosts, but it does mean that the Rocket Star can easily get a boost of speed to help it maintain its fastest thing alive status. Sorry, Sonic. Now, some of you may be wondering how the Rocket Star would even get to that point. Wouldn't the CPUs just use their stars to get past it? You can give them a bad star and set them to level 1, I guess, but it doesn't seem super reliable. And that's where literal multiplayer comes in. Of course, only one person is to be running your standard Kirby Air Ride hundo run. Well, per individual run. If 12 people decided to individually run this game at the same time, actually, I'd go insane with hype over that. It sounds really cool. Anyway, the amount of people are limited, but not the amount of controllers. This is where the Wing Star comes into play. It's super easy to unlock, not very fast, and lasts forever in the air. That last one is important for unlocking Meta Knight, as you need to glide for 30 minutes in order to get him. And not that he's all that good, but a mission is still a mission, you know? Anyway, you use the Wing Star's relative slowness to give the Rocket Star some good boosts here and there, and when you're not doing that, you're holding down in the controller so that you can glide and fly and unlock Meta Knight. Yes, so long as a human is doing it, airtime counts towards Meta Knight. The method that I am using to play this game, shall we say, makes this pretty easy, but when using 4 controllers, it's a lot more fun and chaotic than you'd expect. For the footage you're seeing on screen now, a lot of what we've talked about is coming into play. Wing Star be flying, Rocket Star be zooming, checklist missions be clearing. Multiplayer just makes some of these missions so much more fun. Usually, when using multiplayer strats to cheese stuff like this, the fun of it all makes the complete loss of difficulty kinda worth it. But when you're speedrunning, that difficulty comes back in spades. Case in point, should you choose to clear the start the final lap and last and then finish first in Beanstalk Park, recommended given how many boost panels and abilities the Rocket Star can take advantage of here, you still need to finish it in under 1:56, as per the checklist mission. And let's say, for sake of example, you do it somewhere else. Congrats! Beanstalk Park is super easy, and that other course that you decided to save it for later is now harder! Yay! And no, you can't just do the clear the course quickly and the come back from last place like an epic quickly. You can't do those in 2 separate attempts. Well, okay, I guess you can do that in 2 separate attempts. But since you're speedrunning, you're going to be losing a lot of time that you're just not going to be getting back. You really want to clear as many of these missions as fast as you possibly can per race. And let me tell you, it is so much fun, especially when you clear a bunch of them and you just see all of the checklist boxes being exploded up in a row. That's what's happening here, right? They're blowing up. I never quite got what this was supposed to be. Let me know what you think this is supposed to be. Enlighten Puppy. And this isn't a one-way trade kind of thing, by the way. Puppy will now maybe enlighten you in return. Did you know that your standard 2 to 3 lap race isn't the only way to play Air Ride? If you go into the options, you can opt to have the game track your distance instead of lap count. What this does is that instead of the game timing you, the game gives you a time limit, and you have to race as far as you can within that limit. This doesn't make the whole rocket wing dynamic any worse, by the way, but it's still a super interesting method of playing the game. And, of course, there are checklist missions you gotta clear for it. For example, on Magma Flows, the game tasks you with clearing 4,800 miles in 2 minutes. Magma Flows also asks you to get hit by the flaming dragon for some reason and use all of the boost pads, all while finishing in first, so you know what that means. Rocket go zooming on the boost pads, wing and star go, fly in the sky, I don't know. I think I just got a bit too silly right there. Anyway, from here, the wing star has done basically all that it can. Once Meta Knight is unlocked, you can move on to greener pastures. And I mean that both literally and metaphorically. We're moving on to Fantasy Meadows, and despite its simplicity, is actually not worth doing first. The explanation basically boils down to the Winged Star, but in theory, can't you just use the Winged Star while you're in Fantasy Meadows? No. And do you want to know why? Oh my god, we're going way too fast! Puppy can't hold on! My life is flashing before my eyes! Before I die, I at least want one less sense of head pats. Help! Yeah, so as it turns out on Fantasy Meadows, it's absurdly easy to keep Kirby in a loop of maximum speed with the Rocket Star. Given one of the missions is to never drop below 20 miles an hour, this trick is not only a godsend, but it's also just like one of the funniest things I have ever seen. I say this a lot, but the best way to get a good laugh out of a video game is to just watch the speedrun of it. And you do this twice! Twice! Once in a normal race, and then another time when you're tracking distance. This is optimal! Twice! Kirby never disappoints. Even the sound effects are hilarious. Like, listen to this! Once the insanity is done, there are still a lot of missions that you can clear in Fantasy Meadows. I haven't bought up the Swerve Star in a while, so let's actually be somewhat normal and use a star for its intended purpose, going fast with minimal effort. You only need 2 players for this one, but if you have one of the players turn around and ram into a wall, you can clear 2 sword-related missions right away. Swing your sword exactly 10 times, and swallow exactly 3 sword enemies. Good start. Another mission involves inhaling 20 or more garbage enemies, basically enemies that don't give you an ability. Calling them garbage is pretty mean, but since Kirby Air Ride is a curvy game, enemies respawn if you move far enough away. Yes, they do that even in Air Ride. Yes, I know, that's not a thing in Forgotten Land. Cut Puppy some slack here, I'm trying my best. Thanks to how easy it is to go fast with the Swerve Star, you can easily get through all of these missions quickly. For the sake of time, I think we should move on, but before we do, I wanted to mention one final star, one that doesn't get used all that much, but it still has some use. And that's the Slick Star, which happens to be another favorite of mine. Did I mention before my favorite vehicle growing up was the Rocket Star, and I was super enthusiastic when I found out it was like the best vehicle? No? Well, there you go. I just really like how slippery the Slick Star feels. It's fun! And in the context of speedrunning, that slipperiness does give it kind of an edge. If you charge while you're turning, you can carry that slippery momentum in that charge and briefly go even faster. Of course, when you let go of the charge, you get a speed boost, so you effectively get a double boost. Together, we can show the world what we can do. This is not only used for Frozen Hillside, keeping up your momentum really well while using the ice ability. You gotta swallow 3 or more chilly enemies for a checklist mission, come on. But it's also super useful for the time attack mission for clearing Fantasy Meadows in under a minute with it. I don't want to spend as much time on time attack as I did for the regular mode. I need to draw the line here somewhere. I want this video to actually be something I can edit, alright? Most of the stars used aren't ones that you commonly see in normal hundo, though. Sure, Rocket is there, but time attack is locked to single player, so the risk-reward factor is a lot higher. Otherwise, you get to see some weird stuff like Slick Star in Fantasy Meadows, the Turbo Star in Frozen Hillside, the Wagon Star in Sky Sands, the Shadow Star in Magma Falls. It's so cool! Each star also has their own way of keeping speed. I talked a bunch about Rocket and a bit about Slick, but if you're using something like the Shadow or Jet Star, you're gonna want to go in the air, since that's where they move fastest. The Wagon Star has really good speed, but it doesn't have any charge, meaning, unless you have to, you don't want to lose the brakes, since that's just speed you're never gonna get back. Oh, and the Turbo Star, it's literally worth turning around at the start of a race just to get a good speed boost. Yeah, we're that level of crazy here, and we love it! Oh, and before I wrap up this whole section of the video, I should mention Free Run. It's super fun, I love it, I love being the times the game challenges me to get, but I'd just be largely repeating myself. I'm hoping you see how long this video is. It's time to move on. Honestly, I hate to say this because all 3 of these modes are great, but this one right here, as I've heard some people call it, generic racing mode, the boring mode, absolutely the best mode of the 3 for speedrunning, like I said before. The Top Ride has that simplistic charm to it, and City Trial is certainly more diverse and unique, but everything comes together so perfectly for this mode. And while I wouldn't recommend running any of these modes without 4 controllers, you can certainly find ways to clear Air Ride Hundo by yourself and still have a great time. Air Ride's just fun, and clearing it Hundo, well, it is just fun. But, that took a while. I want something easier to digest. The City Trial rules, but it's not what I would call super simple. It's simple in the best way possible, yeah, but super simple? Nah. Oh, I got it! And it's something super obvious, so I don't know why I'm building it up. It's Top Ride! Alrighty, so Air Ride may have been a lot cooler than one would think, but this one has to be bad, right? I just said a minute ago that it's super simple, so obviously there can't be any kind of depth to this one, right? Wrong. Top Ride is a mode I always loved, and when learning how the Air Ride speedrun worked, I was really impressed with how quick Top Ride is compared to the other 2 modes. For context, assuming the runner has at least 1 or 2 runs under their belt, both Air Ride and City Trial would probably take about 2.5, maybe 3 hours, 4 hours if you're not feeling it max. It's probably not going to take anybody 4 hours, but let's play it safe. Top Ride, on the other hand, takes around an hour, maybe an hour and a half, tops. The best thing about Top Ride, like I said earlier, is its arcade-like nature. You start a race, everything happens real fast, and then boom, you're ready to race again. Air Ride and City Trial are better for not being like this, but at the same time, Top Ride is better for being this way. And I think the speedrun demonstrates that super well, and starting right off the bat is one of my favorite strats for just how funny it is. Yes, I think speedrunning is really funny. Where'd you get that idea? While the individual courses all have unique missions to clear off, like getting eaten by the scary monster a bunch, they all have a win 10 times box to be checked. These courses take about a minute at most, so if we do some math here, adjust puppy glasses out loud, there are 7 courses that you need to clear 10 times each. If they take about a minute, that would be 1, because 1 minute, clear the courses 10 times, which is 10. Wow. Then you do 10 times 7, because 7 courses, and get 70. So ignoring load times and everything like that, that's just over an hour for this series of missions alone. Wow, that sounds like a lot. Wasn't I just saying before that, like, tops this would take an hour and a half? What gives? Oh, that's the speedrunner changing the lap count from recommended to 1. Yeah, it turns out Kirby Air Ride doesn't really care if you set the lap count to 1 or 99 or anything in between. So long as you place first, good enough. Across 9-hole races, you're bound to check off some missions too, so it's just a simple matter of racing, winning, restarting, etc. But what about load times? Winning a race, seeing that results screen, having to reselect the course in your vehicle. Oh, that's the speedrunner using 2-player to win the race and immediately restart, because apparently the game counts it. Play smarter, not harder, kids! And hey, if you feel soulless and hollow because you didn't find that joke I just made funny, check this out. When selecting a course, it's legitimately faster to just pick random than it is to manually select a course. That's it. That's the whole joke. I'm sure there was a third, oh, that's meme in there somewhere, but even Puppy has to pick her battles, okay? So, okay, you race on every course 10 times, and that's it then, right? Wrong! You only race on each of them 9 times. Well, except for the final course you're doing, in which case you only do it 8 times. I'm sorry, did you think there wouldn't be anything interesting about Top Ride? Because get a load of this. For the final level, the one where you only clear 8 times, there's a mission you can technically get earlier, but there's no point since you're just making life harder on yourself if you do that. You play smarter, not harder, you get the idea. Basically, you need to finish first with over 2 laps ahead of second place. The reason why this is a bad idea to do early is because you just want to grind those 9 dubs against your other controller, involving as little CPUs as possible for maximum easiness and effect. Plus, when you place first with nothing but CPUs, the race automatically ends, unlike with other players. Imagine that though, the race ending before other people can finish having fun with the video game. Sounds rude. There's no punchline to this. After that, for every course, you need to clear a mission of beat a level 5 CPU. This isn't so bad, especially if you opt to bring in your lifeless controller to waddle around on screen for all eternity. The CPUs are very good, but they're still CPUs, so some form of rubber banding has to be in play. While doing these races, it's a good idea to do some extra mission cleanup as well. Things like breaking gears and pressing switches in metal, or having a time with the waterfall in water. I know, real creative names for the tracks here. Still, despite the fast and frantic nature of Top Ride, it's also the most forgiving in terms of mistakes. You get so many chances in each course to clear missions. If you race on light 10 times and you forget to break a bunch of these red candy-looking things, that's on you. I have passed my judgment, and your speedrunning soul can only be healed with the punishment of 1,000 head pats. Klaire head pats. Giving me head pats. Get to it already. 1,000 head pats later. There's more to say on the specifics of how Top Ride works. I didn't even mention the no items missions or the use over 500 items mission. Funny. But I want to talk about time attack because out of everything in Top Ride, this is probably the strictest of them all. Of course, if you know what you're doing, it's fairly lenient, but there's always that chance you'll make a mistake and have to restart. Oh no, I messed up on grass and my time to beat is 28 seconds. Yeah, this is what we're working with here. What makes time attack so cool in Top Ride is, as always, the speed of it. While not super hard, none of these are free until you really know what you're doing. And while, sure, you aren't losing a lot of time here, some of these, namely Sky and Water, can take close to a minute with the time to beat for the missions. Top Ride, as fun as it is, equates to the part of the run you just want to get done. Not because it's bad, but because it's fast. You ever do your laundry, but you leave your clothes in the dryer for too long, so you put it on for a little to de-wrinkle your clothes? The Top Ride is kinda like that, except you actually want to play Top Ride. I hate laundry. Now, what's so nice about time attack is that, given everything is so fast, obviously, it doesn't take very long. Despite that, every course has 3 missions tied to clearing it fast, effectively giving you a fifth of the checklist for something you can get done in like 5 to 7 minutes. A free run is similar, but there are a couple of side missions that apply to that, so it's not quite as simple as time attack. It's not saying much, but it's worth something, right? Yeah, no, you really have to see some of the times they're asking you to beat for free run. I'm gonna have to pack my bags and go on a long, epic journey to beat Sky and Metal, the longest courses in the whole game, in 9 seconds and 9.5 seconds, respectively. Oh man, what even is the time for grass? 4.5 seconds for grass? Huh? Really? Freerun is worth it just to see how small some of these numbers are. Mess these up all you want. You can mess these up 6 times and only lose a minute. And sometimes even less if you're talking about something like grass. Actually, that's kinda not true. You do need to race over 100 laps in Freerun, so you're not losing that much time. Obviously, the clear best course to do for 100 Freerun laps is grass. Listen, if you can clear grass in 4.5 seconds and Sky 9.5, doing the maths, that saves you 500 seconds. That's just under 8.5 minutes, actually. Dude, why does that sound like so much time? I was just memeing. Is grass actually based? When they said to touch grass, they weren't kidding. All right, I'm going too crazy and being a little bit too silly, so let's dial it back and wrap things up for Top Ride. Obviously, there's a lot less to say about this mode compared to Air Ride and, as we'll soon see, City Trial. Air Ride has the insane mechanical depth, and City Trial has the ridiculous variety and biggest brain strats. That leaves Top Ride with very little, but the big thing that it does have is pretty huge. I've said it a few times, and hopefully the footage has spoken for itself, but it really is insane at just how much fun Top Ride is to pick up and play, even for something as super serious as speedrunning. Oh, I'm so serious, and it's because I'm a big bad speedrunner. Okay. If you had to force an answer out of me, I would unfortunately have to say this is my least favorite mode, both for casually and speedrunning. It's just strong competition, though. Top Ride is still better than most speedruns out there. I'm a huge advocate for using speedrunning as a method of kicking back, relaxing, and having fun, and when your 100% run options here are either 2 to 4 hours or 1 through 1.5 hours, yeah, your answer's pretty clear. 100 missions is a thing too, obviously, but if you're in that hundo mood, Top Ride, it's a blast. But, okay, Top Ride is cool, but again, it's just too simple. Air Ride too, you're just racing the whole time. The world is about a lot more things than just racing. That's what Lightning McQueen taught me in the hit movie Cars. This is now a video about why I actually love that movie, and it was in my top 5 favorite Pixar films for years. I'm actually not joking about that. I actually really do like that movie. It's seriously one of my favorites. But moving on, City Trial. So, of course, City Trial needs no introduction. And because I said that, City Trial is a mode where you're dumped into a big city for 3 to 7 minutes. In that time, you can do whatever you want. Drive around, grab stat boosters, attack other players, break things, be an empty-brained puppy and drive around on the grind rails and appreciate the simplicities of life instead of having to worry over the existentials that you can't control. Then, when the timer runs out, you play a stadium event, which can range from racing, to flying, to fighting, to glitching the game with the bulk star. Whoever performs the best wins. It's incredible, and with how unique of a mode this is, with all of this potential, you just know that City Trial Hundo is like nothing you've ever seen. Right off the bat, in doing research for this video, I watched a few different Hundo runs across each of the different categories, as well as an actual full-on Hundo run for each mode. Speedrunner Shiro for City Trial wound up getting 20 missions cleared in their first go at City Trial. Not their first run, but their first go at City Trial in the run that I watched. That's hilarious, and even though I can't say you get 20 every single time, this would be faster than even Top Ride if that was the case, it's still a super funny way to start the mode off. Speedrunning funny, etc, etc. But what are you actually doing in this city that's specifically about speedrunning? Do you want to focus on getting top speed so that you can go fast? Well, getting top speed is certainly a good idea, but there's a lot more going on than that. This star pole here, for example, can be broken, which lets out a bunch of stat boosters. Obviously, this is helpful for getting better stats. Wow, really, Klaire? Stat boosters give you better stats. Wow. but is also a checklist mission. You want to break it every time, of course, but it's literally essential at least once. And more than once. I'm pretty sure there's one for breaking it 15 times. I could be wrong on that one, but I don't know. The stat boosters in general are very important, as each has a mission tied to getting 10 of each. Yep, just like top ride and placing first, you gotta get at least 10 of every stat in a single run. Individually, of course. You don't need to get 10 of them in every stat in one go. That is really hard, though, so, I mean, I don't know. If you're gonna take your time with it, I guess that's not so bad. Oh, wait. I'm getting a message from my brain. Hold on. Hi, brain. How are you? What's that? You should really be doing all of these in one go because it's a speedrun? I said this already in this very video, and this joke is redundant? And I'm making everything worse by saying everything in the microphone? For crying out loud, SpongeBob, you didn't get the job. Thanks, brain. What would I do without you? Hints, without a brain, I would literally die. Still, though, getting 10 of each item sounds really hard. Oh, that's the brain again already. Brain, I love you, but could you knock it off? You're ruining the pace. Yeah, I know, I was gonna mention the multiplayer. I just didn't get to the joke yet. Eesh. Of course, thanks, brain. If you have 4 players in the city and only one of them is getting items, it just becomes really, really easy to get all of the 10 of each stat missions. All in your first go, even, if you're cool enough. Generally speaking, you can play early city trial however you want. And you can try and do the more difficult missions earlier or later or whatever. A bit of it is going to have to be up to chance. For example, getting both the Hydra and Dragoon may not be possible from the get-go. It depends on if they're on the field or not. And that said, getting some of the more annoying ones done first that aren't luck-based, like the 10 of each stat, is a good call. Having so many stats should help with other objectives too. If you want to get missions done, such as destroying all of the buildings, or destroying all of the trees, or destroying the walls around the volcano, or destroying the star pole, or destroying the pitfall near Wispy, or destroying... Hey, how about we calm down with the violence a little bit? We're playing Kirby Air Ride, not Kirby... Violence Ride? Shoot, I'd play that. Adding to the random factor of the city are the events that happen during every playthrough. These aren't set in stone, so if you get one, you need to take advantage of it. If the giant pillar appears, for example, break that thing in 40 seconds. If Dynablade appears, aim for the horn. I mean, aim for the head. The head. And while not technically an event, if you see a specific star, for example, the Warp Star, be sure to hop on and scope out a wheelie bike. Yeah, it's another one of those destroy missions because the violent youth are so into those these days. More seriously, there aren't a lot of these, but because of the nature of stars and how they appear, you don't want to lose any chance that you can get. Granted, some missions can't be done in your first go even if you do your best. Some actually do require CPU players to clear, for example, such as destroying the CPU's machine 5 times or more. What did I just say? And oh my god, what's this? There's another one that involves bringing 3 CPUs and hurting all of them? Hold on, why is City Trial specifically so hecking mean? Do you think these missions are like American exclusive or something because Kirby is just so much more hardcore over here? Wait a minute, Kirby Air Ride is the first game that made that go big. At least in terms of the box art, where in Japan, Kirby's happy, but in America, Kirby's angry. Are we onto something? Obviously, we're not onto something, but imagine if we were. Gotta run NTSC Hundo if you want to be violent, and then run Japan or PAL Hundo if you want to be a pacifist. I should be making these speedruns. That sounds like fun. All of this being said, you can't expect to clear every mission in 1 or 2 runs of the city. 7 minutes isn't enough time, and if you really have to do some cleanup, it's not worth resetting the run. 3 minutes is really not that bad. You should still try to get as much done as you can in one go, of course, but the city is flexible enough to where you can improvise. The city trial speedrunning is like jazz. You make it up as you go. That's what jazz is like, right? Right? Oh god, it's my brain again. I'm gonna get a scolding if I do that. Sorry, everybody. I know this is just a joke. That's not what jazz is like. I'm just trying to be a funny puppy. I hope I'm being a funny puppy. Anyway, another silly city trial quirk is how many missions are about what happens once the timer runs out. Have all players be on a rail when the timer runs out? Check. Have all the players be off of a star when the timer runs out? Double check. And those are actually the only two that involve when the timer is over. But hey, it's that Doofenshmirtz coffee pasta about the 2 nickels. This is fun. I don't know why those are the only two that are like this, but with multiplayer, they're thankfully very easy. You can probably get the everyone off their machines one completed with CPUs if you're violent enough, but I seriously think we might just want to be a little bit more pacifist for City Trial. Maybe? Please? City Trial is an interesting one where I could really talk about every single mission in the city just because there's so much that you can do with so much variance, but I'll end it on the one that, of course, I would naturally be drawn to. There's a mixed roulette wheel in the city. Oh yeah, Puppy's talking mixes again. And as usual, you can time the mix without fail each time if you know the pattern. This, unfortunately, doesn't mean much in terms of usefulness, but the checklist is here to help you. You can check off a few missions thanks to the roulette wheel. Just simply getting an ability from it is all it asks of you, including bomb, wing, wheel, and sleep, baby! The greatest golden ability of all time! Woo! Alright, so since we clearly can't top that, let's go to the other half of what makes City Trial what it is, the stadium events. See, I actually made a video already covering Stadium Speedrun, and not all of it, but a lot of it carries over to Hundo. You can watch that video if you'd like. I think it came out rather well, all things considered, but like I just said, it's not applicable entirely. You do want to actually try in the events where, in that run, you can just put the controller down and, I don't know, make a sandwich, file your taxes, speedrun Kirby Brawl Ball. Dang, that was another shameless plug, and it was the second one for that video. I'm on fire today. Except I'm doing it super late into a video where fewer people will be watching. Darn. If you've made it this far, leave a comment saying spin, 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 spin. Ugh! Don't let me down. To start with, you already know, I gotta talk about the drag races. I get it. They're just straight lines, but speedrunning makes anything interesting, even a straight line. For example, you've got 4 missions on Drag Race 2 alone. You can clear it in under 24 and 20 seconds, clear it in under 27 seconds with the Wagon Star, and under 29 with the Wing Star. For the 22nd mission, you can just use the Rocket Star. I know, you never see this one in any other category. And for the Wagon Star, you can generally just kind of go in that straight line, but Winged isn't so easy. Unless, of course, you use the speed boost trick that we took heavy advantage of all throughout our Air Ride portion of the video. Yep, the Rocket, Wagon, and Wing Star in one go can clear all of these missions if you have the right idea. What an odd combo. Now, Drag Race 3 is super interesting for one particular reason. One of the missions is to win in under 28 seconds with the Swerve Star. And while the Swerve Star is very, very good, 28 seconds for Course 3 is kind of pushing it. The Universal mission is to clear it in under 27 seconds anyway, and that's only 1 second off. You can do Rocket Star shenanigans, sure, but Swerve isn't going to win just by going straight. No, the most reliable way to win with it is to mix. Yep, we're going full circle here, baby. Mixing is actually useful for something in Kirby Air Ride. What a time we live in. Wheelie Bike has something similar, finish in under 31 seconds, but if you get everything in one go, then Wheel shouldn't be too important for that. I'll stop talking about the drag races early this time, not talk your ear off for another, 2 hours, but trust me, they're really cool. I talked about this one in my Stadium Speedrun video as well, but to bring it up again, I really love the trick for Air Glider. Basically, you take advantage of a glitch with the Bulk Star that gives it infinite height and use it to, well, gain infinite height. I guess infinite isn't quite right here. You only need 1,300 feet and to be in the air for over 30 seconds. But hey, it's something, and even though it's all the Bulk Star has, I think that's pretty cool. Oh my god, Bulk Star actually based! If you use 2 players, you can actually clear every single target flight mission in one go, even without stat boosters, which is great. The Bulk Star can easily clear the 90 points mission, given how much airtime it has, and any vehicle can fit in the other slot, so long as it has enough airtime to land both of the 100s. It should also be faster than the Bulk Star, although that's not hard to pull off. The Bulk Star is very bad, actually. Sorry, you guys, it's true. For what it's worth, if you're sad that I picked on the Bulk Star for like 2 seconds for no reason, I'm wrong. There's a checklist mission you get for completed target flight 15 times, so you can't clear everything in one go. No bad puppy deed goes unpunished, I suppose. There's also high jump, which... That was high jump, so let's talk about Kirby Melee next. Kirby Melee 1 is really where it's at. And, unlike in that other video, we can actually care about how cool it is. So which star do we use for this mode that I am deeming super cool? The Bulk Star? Are you kidding me? Why wait until over 30 minutes into this video for the Bulk Star to suddenly be the most insanely good star for, like, I don't know, everything? Okay, let's calm down. Getting to be a little too much over here, okay? The way that Kirby Melee works is that, for missions, you need to KO a lot of enemies. Fair enough, that's what Kirby Melee is all about after all. So which ability is best for taking out enemies? If you're looking at the screen, you can very easily tell it's Plasma. When you charge Plasma to level 3, you shoot out 3 Plasma waves, one that goes straight and the other 2 to the sides. These are really big, go full screen, and take little to no time at all to charge up. The only problem is with positioning. You need to let go of the brakes to use your ability, but that's going to move you. The Swerve Star is pretty good for this since it immediately stops once the brake is pressed, but we can do better and basically just like not move at all. That's right, we're unironically using the Bulk Star, baby, because it's so bad. Let's go! This absolutely eviscerates enemies, and you can reasonably expect to clear the KO 500 enemies mission in 3 sessions. Yeah, only 3! I don't think 2 is possible. Getting to 200 KOs in one game is super hard, and I don't even think 250 is possible. Still, the Bulk Star is going crazy, and I think we gotta respect it for that. I salute the Bulk Star. It may not look like it, but I'm gonna put some kind of emote on screen. I don't actually have a salute emote, so I've got no clue what I'm gonna do, but I'm saluting you in spirit. To end off Stadium and the entire video just about, I want to talk about versus Day-to-Day, even though I've made multiple videos about this specific Stadium mode in the past. When making those videos though, I would go to an extreme and showcase strats to finish the fight in nearly 10 seconds, maybe even less. For Hundo though, you have a full minute to take him down, meaning you can use reliable easy mode strats! Yay! The Shadow Star does more damage if it's taken damage, so you can actually just run into Day-to-Day before grabbing Needle to make things easier. It's slower, but it won't drive you nearly as insane trying to pull it off. A 2 to 3 second time save, or the safety and security of my sanity. I'll have to get back to you on that one. Oh, and before we wrap this all up, by the way, I should talk about Freerun. A city trial freerun is useless for speedrunning, except for one singular mission type of play freerun for over X minutes. This would be a massive damper on the run, if not for purple boxes. Yeah, I know, I'm finally bringing these up after over like 50 minutes almost. When you clear certain missions, regardless of which mode you're playing, you can unlock purple boxes that will fill in any mission no matter what. You're very limited with these though, so you have to pick carefully. Generally speaking, there is an optimal use for each purple box in every mode, but if you want a super duper obvious one, why yes, I'd love to shave 2 hours, why, off my Kirby Air Ride Hundo speedrun. Thank you so much. Oh, and there's also change vehicles 10 times, but like, that's an easy one. City Trial, of course, is the odd mode out here. Air Ride's insane depth and optimization, and Top Ride's quick and accessible nature could make City Trial unappealing. It's got RNG, mixing, and even the bulk start, oh my. But I think that's doing City Trial, probably even the bulk start, a disservice. It's definitely the most chaotic run out of all of these, but I mean that in the best way possible. You constantly have to adapt if you're running City Trial, but Kirby Air Ride is such a simple game to pick up and play that doing that adaptation is really easy. The stadium events are all fun, there's no RNG with those. I didn't go over them all, but I gotta give you some reason to do some research yourself, okay? And even if it costs you 2 hours of your life, you can relax with free run. It's an option. Truly something special. And, whew, finally, that's the video. I want to once again thank the wonderful and funderful head-patting Fluffle fan puptrons who chose this topic. It was a super fun video to research and record for. Kirby Air Ride is such an amazing game, and even though I could do without making longer videos like this one on it for a while, I am always giddy to revisit it for any reason. If you're interested in running full hundo yourself, I'd recommend tackling each of these individually first. The world record for full hundo is about 4.5 hours, and while world record times are not a good call to judge your own personal time by, City Trial is just over 2 hours and Air Ride is just over 1. The Top Ride isn't even an hour long, so I mean, there's that. My point is, there are much shorter alternatives if you still want that 100% thrill. Once you've had your fun with them on their own, you can decide if you want to commit to a full Air Ride hundo run. And there's a lot that I didn't go over in this video, so don't use this as a beginner's guide or something. I just hope that you had fun watching and learned something new about this incredible game. With everything having been said though, I've been Klaire. Thank you all so very, very much for watching, and hey, remember how I said before that this isn't the longest Kirby Air Ride speedrun? What's up with that, huh? I wonder.